This episode is sponsored by the Islamic Shura Council of Southern California.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim wa salatu wa salam ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in amma ba'd. Eating habits of the sunnah of our beloved Prophet alayhi salatu wa salam. Our Prophet came and taught us all things. And through the Prophet alayhi salatu wa salam and his perfect manners and his beautiful characteristics, we are able to live life in the most healthy and effective and most satisfying and gratifying way possible. And no doubt eating is one of the most routine activities that we engage every single day. And so through the Prophet ﷺ and what the beloved companions observed of the etiquettes and the manners of the Prophet ﷺ when he eats, we can derive eating habits. And let us begin by appreciating food for what it really means. The Prophet ﷺ came first and foremost with an ideology, with a theology, with a way of life. And so it goes a long way to understand what food really means from the theological and the spiritual lenses. When we look at food, food tells us and reminds us that we have a Lord who creates and provides. For this meal that is right in front of me is a manifestation of Allah's names: Ar-Rabb, Ar-Raziq, Al-Alim, Al-Hakim, Al-Kareem, Al-Jawad, Al-Ra'uf, among other names, subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so when we look at our plate, our dish, remember the one who provided you with it, and remember what that means in terms of your relationship with him. And from the spiritual side, eating and seeing food is a way of expressing gratitude to Allah. It is a means, a potential means of being a thankful person to Allah. When we see our food and understand what food means to us and our need for food, and that Allah provided us with food and made such great diversity when it comes to the types of food. For some of us, we're going to eat chicken tonight. For others, it's going to be meat or beef or lamb. For others, it's vegetarian. All different kinds of ways of cooking it, all different kinds of spices, so that whatever your taste buds require from you or want of you, you can satisfy them. And this should inspire within us shukr, gratitude to Allah. And it is through gratitude we come closer to Allah and feel Allah's nearness to us. And it's through gratitude we can improve and strengthen our iman and our spirituality. And among the eating habits of the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ was that he would not eat too much, and he would not eat that which is harmful to the self. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَكُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا وَلَا تُسْرِفُوا. Eat and drink, but don't be excessive in how you engage food and drink. And one of the common mistakes we all are guilty of, especially in the month of Ramadan, is overeating or eating too quickly. When our bodies has not taken in food for such a long period of time, then we need to be quite sensitive in how much food we are placing in our bodies when we break our fast. And the Prophet ﷺ was observed as eating with 3 fingers, like this. And today we eat with spoons. But what we can take from this habit of the Prophet ﷺ is that you can only hold so much food with 3 fingers. And so the habit is to minimize the size of your bites. Don't eat too much at one time. Eat over a longer period of time, but with smaller bites, so that your body can slowly and gradually get used to food entering the body, and it could be easier on the body as well to digest and to consume. The Prophet ﷺ also teaches us that the most evil thing you can fill in your body, O human, is your stomach. And essentially what this tells us is there is a relationship between our eating habits and our behaviors. And that if our eating habits are not healthy, if we are putting haram and harmful things in our body, that can have an effect, a negative effect on our behaviors. One simple example of this is that when we eat a lot, and when that food is heavy, we feel lazy afterwards. We become sleepy when we normally don't sleep. It requires more time. We feel like we want to sleep more. And that is not the best behavior and the best way to engage life. And finally, the Prophet ﷺ says that a few bites to satisfy the innards of the human being is enough for the child of Adam. But if they feel like they need to go more, then let them fill 1/3 of their stomach with food and 1/3 with water, and leave 1/3 empty for breathing and for air to circulate in the body. And so we really need to be cognizant of how much food we are eating. And in my own conversations with people who have knowledge in dietary means and measures and sciences, they say that what is more important to the health of the individual is not so much the calories or how much calories they intake, but making sure that when they eat, they don't get full. They don't eat until they feel full and bloated, but rather they eat until their hunger subsides. And then afterwards, sometime in the day, walk for 15 minutes, exercise for 15 minutes. So here are some habits that we can take from the Sunnah so that we can further and better engage this beautiful month of Ramadan. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless us in this life and the afterlife. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.